Hello my friends, and today there are a lot of interesting news.
Вони запропонували мобілізувати додаткових 450-500 тисяч людей.
And today everyone already understands that this war won't end quickly. Putin says he has no intention of giving up territories. And we see that the number of fortifications and forces being deployed to the occupied territories is only increasing. Ukraine, as before, awaits support. Although Zelensky stated that there would be sufficient support for new operations, so it's too early to fall into despair and the war continues. President Zelensky also made several shocking statements at yesterday's press conference. The first of which is the mobilization of an additional 500,000 Ukrainians.
По-перше, це все ж таки питання, і це справедливо, що це питання наших військових, главкома, Генштабу. Вони звернулись на рівні нашої ставці щодо питання мобілізації. Питання дуже чутливе, я вважаю. Вони звернулись щодо захисту нашої держави і потенційних контрнаступальних дій, щодо дефіциту, і їх погляд був на ставці, що вони запропонували мобілізувати додаткових 450-500 тисяч людей. Це дуже серйозна цифра. Я сказав, що мені потрібно більше аргументів для того, щоб підтримувати цей напрямок, тому що це питання, перш за все, людей. Друге, це питання справедливості, це питання обороноздатності і питання фінансів.
And now let's start the front overview right away from the Kherson direction. Since the Russians have realized that they won't be able to squeeze the Ukrainian Armed Forces from the positions on the left bank through direct assaults, they are actively shelling the right bank and trying to block the reinforcement routes for our units to weaken them as much as possible. Then they plan to storm the village. Whether they will succeed in doing this, I think will be known in the near future. However, judging from recent statements, our artillery is delivering powerful strikes in response on the left bank, and the Russians seem unable to do anything about it. Moreover, they have so many problems that even their mortars are exploding.
A few more words about the problems of counter-battery warfare in the Kherson direction. It became known about the explosion of our 120th mortar in the Kremіnna area. There are dead and wounded mortarmen. While the causes are being established, the main version is defective mines from North Korea.
As we can see, North Korea is actively supporting Russia, but it's fortunate that the projectiles are of poor quality. In addition, the Russians report that the Ukrainian Armed Forces have successfully destroyed another tank and BMP-3.
Despite the fact that the president gave a direct order to destroy the militants of the armed forces of Ukraine in Kremīnna without assaults, Teplinsky still continues to send units to assaults. Today, our tank and BMP-3 infantry fighting vehicle were knocked out there.
However, not everything is as good as we would like. Yesterday, there was one of the largest scale attacks in the Kherson region. The State Emergency Service has already released footage of these shelling incidents. In the Zaporizhzhia direction, the occupiers continue offensive actions in the same areas near Robotyne and Novobakhmutivka. Additionally, shelling persists in all the villages near the front. However, the front line remains unchanged over the day. The General Staff reported that the Ukrainian Armed Forces repelled 9 attacks. The Russians continue to deploy their reserves in this direction. In Crimea, residents observed a column of military vehicles through the Kerch ferry. Also, something unclear is happening in Crimea. According to Atesh, in Zhenkoi, since early morning, the transportation of mobilized individuals has been taking place, with the Russian National Guard confiscating those who have arrived. In Pushkina, where a concentration of equipment was previously noted, it is now empty. In Gvardeysk, about 30 fuel tanks were discovered at the railway station. In Simferopol, on the contrary, complete emptiness is recorded. Even at the main parking lot of the National Guard, there is almost no equipment. In the Vuhledar direction, the Russians continue shelling along the entire front line, but there are no reported offensive actions and the situation remains unchanged. In the Avdiivka direction, the Russians were unable to advance on the southern flank, so they again concentrated all their forces on the northern flank. It is evident that they are attempting sequential breakthroughs from different sides. Despite limited success, it is noteworthy that, as before, they are unable to encircle Avdiivka. Although the Russians continue fighting in the Novobakhmutivka area to extend the northern flank further, battles are also taking place east of Kherson in the fields. Here, the Russians seek to expand controlled territory to prevent the Ukrainian Armed Forces from cutting off this flank. As we have seen before, cutting off a stretched flank is challenging, as it grants the initiative to the side extending it. So in this direction, the Russians have more both in terms of equipment and manpower. Therefore, the Ukrainian strategy is to maintain defense, and as of now there is no indication of counteroffensive operations. Battles also continue for Stepove and near the coke chemical plant. Avdiivka itself is under artillery fire, and powerful attacks from the eastern side persist in an attempt to break through to the outskirts. While they haven't achieved success within the day, the attacks continue. Intense battles are ongoing in the Pervomaisky area, and the Russians heavily shell all villages toward Kharkivka. Fierce fighting is also reported in the vicinity of Nevelske, and the pressure is high, so the outcome of these battles remains to be seen. In the Bakhmut direction, the situation hasn't undergone any significant changes. The Russians have slightly altered the direction of attacks near Bohdanivka, but they haven't achieved any success. The Ukrainian Armed Forces repel all attacks. There are no reported new attempts to break through Chasiv Yar. However, near Klishchiivka and Andriivka, the battles continue, with the Russians intensively shelling the ruins of these settlements, preventing the Ukrainian Armed Forces from holding positions. Unofficially, there are reports that in the areas of Kromove, Klishchiivka and Andriivka, the Ukrainian Armed Forces had to withdraw from several positions, but it didn't lead to significant changes along the front line. In the Siversk direction, all battles around Spirne have been unsuccessful, with only shelling reported. However, new attacks have begun in the forest near Kremіnна. Last week, the Russians successfully advanced in this area, and now, having regrouped, they are attempting to expand their success. Battles are also ongoing in the Terne village. Near Makivka, the Ukrainian Armed Forces repelled all attacks, and the front line remains unchanged. Additionally, the Ukrainian Armed Forces report successfully stopping one attack with the force of a single Leopard tank crew, resulting in 40 casualties for the occupants. In the Svatove area, the situation remains tense, with the Russians maintaining a single line of defense, anticipating a breakthrough from the Ukrainian Armed Forces in that direction. However, the General Staff hasn't yet made the decision to initiate such an advance. In the Kupiansk direction, the battles for Synkivka continue. It appears that the intensity of the enemy has slightly decreased. Over the last day, the Ukrainian Armed Forces repelled 5 attacks. The Russians persistently attempt to break through the Ukrainian positions in the village using armored vehicles. However, Ukrainian forces managed to repel all attacks, and the front line remains unchanged. And that's all from me. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the notification bell to stay updated on all the latest news. Thank you for watching, and see you next time. Bye bye.